Hello everyone and welcome back to the OmicsNexa Bioinformatics Summer Sprint 2026. In today's session, we are going to learn the fundamentals of Ubuntu command line, specifically from the perspective of bioinformatics. Today, we are not beginning our RNA-seq analysis. We are also not installing the actual RNA-seq tools yet. Instead, we are learning how to communicate with Ubuntu and how to work with the types of files that bioinformaticians use every day. The command line may initially look very different from working with folders and files through a graphical interface, but the underlying tasks are the same. We still move between folders, we still create, copy, rename, delete files, we still read data, we still search for information. The main difference is that we describe those actions using commands. This becomes extremely useful in bioinformatics because biological data sets are often too large to inspect or process manually. We may have hundreds of sequencing files, millions of reads, or tables containing thousands of genes. The command line allows us to work with those files efficiently, reproducibly, and systematically. Today I will demonstrate many commands. You're not expected to memorize all of them immediately. Instead, focus on understanding the categories of operations. Once you understand those categories, individual commands become much easier to remember. So let's begin by understanding what we see on the screen. Ubuntu is a Linux distribution. The terminal is the window in which we type commands. Bash is the shell that interprets many of these commands. Windows users in this course are running Ubuntu through Windows Subsystem for Linux, usually called WSL, and they can absolutely use all the commands that we are using here on their Windows system. This line is called the command prompt, and the first part is the username. After @ you see the host name or the computer name. And after the colon, you actually see the current working location. This symbol represents the home directory, and the $ means Ubuntu is waiting for a command from a normal user. So we type after the $ and press enter to execute the command. So let's start with our first command, pwd. This stands for print working directory. It shows our exact current location in the Linux file system. Now let's look at the commands which is used for listing the files, and then we can understand the command structure. First up we have ls, which gives you the list of all the content that is present in your current directory. So it will output all the things that are actually present in your working directory. If you write lsl, if you add l at the end of this command, this will give you long listing along with more details like file permission, owner information, file size, modification time, and the file name. If you use a command ls with lh, then this also gives you a detailed listing, long listing, but in a human readable form. So now you will see that file sizes are shown in kilobytes, megabytes, and gigabytes. If you write lsla, then this also includes the hidden files. So if there were any hidden files in your directory, it will also include that. So in Linux, a file or directory beginning with a dot is the hidden file basically. So for example, these here are the hidden files. And if you just write clear on the screen, it will just clear everything up for you. Let's go through file system navigation commands now. So there's a command called cd, and if you write cd, then you enter into the home directory, and if you write cd /, then you enter into the root directory. So cd means change directory, and a single / represents the root of the Linux file system. If you write pwd, then you can see that you are into the root directory right now. And if you write ls, then it will just list all the files or folders which are there. So here we see important Linux directories. The home directory contains home directories for regular users. The etc directory will be there, which contains the system configuration files. The user directory will be there, which contains many installed programs and shared resources. Then there will be a temp directory. It is used to save the temporary files. Then there will be a var directory, which contains changing information such as logs and caches, and mnt directory is used to access the mounted file system. So here is the mnt directory. So for Windows users running WSL, the Windows drives are available inside MNT directory only. Now if you write cd with this symbol, then you will enter into the home directory. Even if you just write cd, you will still enter into this home directory, so you can use either of these. So if I write cd now, cd /, I am into the root directory, but if I write cd hyphen, then I will go back to the home directory. And if you want to go to a specific location, then you can just copy the path of that folder and just write cd and then paste the direction or the path and then press enter, and you will enter into that directory. Now let's just create a new directory. So how do we actually create a new directory using a command line? So for that we have a command called mkdir, and you can just write it and then whatever folder name you want to write, for example Ubuntu Bioinformatics. Now you will see that the directory would have been created here, right? But how we can see it on the command line? You just write ls and then you'll be able to see this folder. So I'm just creating a temporary directory here for today's demonstration. Now if we want to move to this directory, we can just write cd and then name of the directory bioinfo-basics, and then you enter into that directory. One thing you will notice that here I'm not using any spaces but underscore. So Ubuntu or Linux in general is very sensitive to spaces, so whenever you are creating any file or folder, just make sure that you're using underscore if you want to separate two words. Especially in the bioinformatics analysis, this will come very handy, because if your file name has space in it, it will just throw an error and it will not be able to open and process it. So whenever working on Ubuntu, just follow a file name pattern, never use spaces in between. What if we want to make a nested directory where we have directory within directory within directory? For that you can just write mkdir and then you write a special command mkdir -p and then whatever names you want to give to your directory. So for example, I just created a folder called Ubuntu Bioinformatics Basics, and now I want to create a folder called training inside this folder, and then day 1 inside this training folder, and then examples within day 1 folder. So if now I just press enter, you will see that all of those folders must have been created. So now we have a training folder, we have a day 1 folder, we have an examples folder. So it was all about how to create a folder. To create a folder, you just use a command called mkdir. But what if we want to use the command line to create a text file? Then for that you have a command called touch, and then you just give name of the files, for example nodes.txt, and then you just press enter, and then if you write lslh, so this will give you the list of all the contents in this directory with details. So here you can see that we have this file and the size is 0. So this is important because this is an empty file. We just created this file but we have not written anything inside it, right? So how to actually write and read things inside a file? So if you just use a command called echo, for example hello, right? So this just works like print command. So this will just print whatever you have written here. But what if I want to write something inside the txt file which I created? So you can just write echo and then something like Ubuntu command line fundamentals, and then you write greater than sign, then name of the file in which you want to add this, and then press enter. You will note one thing, that here I am using spaces and it's absolutely fine. Why? Because it's under this inverted commas. So anything that is inside the inverted commas, it's just used as a string, and echo will just print this thing inside this txt file. And how can we actually see what is there inside this txt file? For that we have another command called cat. So you just write cat and then name of the txt file, and then just press enter, and you will see that this is something which is written within this file. Now if I want to add something to this file, how do I do this? So again, you can just write echo, and then for example, Linux commands are widely used in bioinformatics. Now I close the inverted commas, but instead of one greater than sign, first let's see what happens if I just put one greater than sign, and I just give the name of the file again and then press enter. And now if you write cat notes.txt, then you will see that the line has changed. So earlier we had this written, but now the file only has this. But how to actually append things to what was already written in the file? For that we need to use two greater than signs. So what we can do first, if you just press the upper key, you can bring the same command and then you don't have to type it again basically. Now if I read cat, you will see that again this has changed, right? Now what I want to do is, I want to have this line, but I will put two greater than signs. And now when I read this notes file using the cat command, you will see that both the lines are there, and the second line just got appended to the next line. So two greater than symbols append content to the end of the existing file. They do not replace the previous content. So now if we add one more line to it, let's say commands can be combined into reproducible workflows. Again, we can just have two greater than signs and it will be fine. So after the second line you don't have to like add three greater than signs. Now if you read the file again, you will see that there are three lines. If we want to create a longer file, for example, let's say we want to print sequence from 1 to 30 in a file called numbers.txt, then if you just write cat numbers.txt, this will also display you the entire content of the file. But for example, we are just interested in seeing what are the first 10 lines, for example, or what are, just show me the first 2 lines or 5 lines of the list. Then you can use a command called head. Then you just write the file name, and then you can see that it displayed first 10 lines. So by default, head command can display the first 10 lines, but if you want to see specific number of rows, then you can just write, for example, head -n. For example, I want to see 5 rows, then you just write the number of rows you're actually interested in, and then it will just show you those many rows. If I use a command called tail and then just give the name of the file again, this command will display the end of the file. So again, by default it's 10, but for example I just want to see 5 last rows, then you just use tail -n and then 5 and then name of the file, and this will show you the last 5 lines. And if you want to see, so there's a command called less which opens a file in an interactive viewer. So if you type less and then the file name, so this just opened everything in an interactive way. So this is safer than printing a very large file completely to the terminal. We can move using the arrow keys, page up and page down keys. We can search by pressing the /, typing a value and pressing enter. So for example, I want to see 2, so it shows all the 2s to me, and to exit we just press Q. So this way we are not crowding the terminal so much. So if you want to open the interactive viewer, if you want to open a file in an interactive viewer, you just type less and then the file name.